Good evening. I am Colin Cowhard. I'm filling in for Michael B tonight. We have some special guests. Michael's out trick or treating, and we got some special guests with us tonight. We got, I think we got Nick Wright, or maybe it's Paul Feinbaum, one of the two. And then I think we also have Joe Buck or Chris Collinsworth. Not sure. We'll find out. So sit tight, enjoy the show. We're going to have a little fun with it tonight and hope that you are too. So let me bring up the first guest. And boom. There he is, Mr. Feinbaum. How are you, sir?
Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Coward, it's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. You look spectacular as always.
Thank you, sir. I'm loving the suit. You look so professional. You know, that's why they put the dollar sign in SEC, I guess, because y'all can afford the suits. All I can afford is a button-up shirt. I'm sorry.
That's right.
So,
That's the only way we do it down here in the South. You know, as a proud Tennessee graduate, but an absolute Alabama homer, like I've got to dress to the T's.
awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm a big USC fan, and, I don't remember where the hell I went to college because I've done drugs since then. But, yeah, I'm a big USC fan, so don't mention UCLA. I don't like the SEC. But I'm looking forward to your commentary tonight because uh, I don't know what I'm doing. So
Yeah, I can attest to that. You're very well spoken, very illiterate. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
well, I appreciate that, sir. It looks like maybe Joe Buck's wife has probably murdered him tonight and hidden the body since he's trying to do a podcast during her birthday. So we'll continue on without him. I don't see him, but when he comes back, we'll get him on the show. So how you doing there, Mr. Feinbaum? We're going to talk some Raiders football. We're going to talk some NFL, MVP race, all kinds of good stuff. So tell me, what did you think about the Raiders game against the Titans this past Sunday?
Well, that was one of those games where the Raiders actually played SEC style football. They looked very, very good. It was a boring, mundane game, but when you're the Raiders and you're trying to play or emulate SEC style of smash mouth football, that is the best form of football there is. And the Raiders really did their best to just ground and pound and just forcing turnovers. White was a fantastic line. He went to LSU, right? He was a fantastic SEC
Really?
linebacker.
Really? Awesome.
It's a shame that Max Crosby ended up at Eastern Michigan and didn't end up at like an Alabama or Georgia, where Kirby Smart is really putting talent into the NFL leftover, just left and right. So it's a wonder how Max Crosby slipped through the cracks there and ended up at Eastern Michigan when he's clearly an SEC style player, and it's unfortunate. But as for the Raiders, I'm telling you what, that was the best performance they've had outside of week one, obviously, which considered a win. So yeah, I'm very, very pleased with the way they turned about. The players really bought into the system. It's my understanding they had a players only meeting. They might have even called in the greatest coach of all time, Nick Saban, during that meeting. Who knows? And then they really turned it around and played up to the T. So I was impressed with that performance against Tennessee.
Wow, Mr. Feinbaum, I tell you, I really appreciate your insight there. I think you're absolutely right. The only thing is that I think that they play more like a Big Ten style, USC, UCLA, Washington, those guys. So that's kind of how I felt. But I can see what you're talking about with the SEC. They did have shiny uniforms and everything. So they look pretty good out there. So anyways, I don't think Joe Buck's wife killed him. He showed up. I see his picture. And we're going to bring Joe Buck up here and see what he thinks about the Raiders and Titans.
Hello. Joe Buck normally doesn't talk a lot. He's clear, concise, and to the point. I'll try to be like Joe Buck tonight.
Well, Joe, am I close enough to the microphone here? I mean, I know I got it facing the wrong direction and stuff, but that's who I am. That's my style, man. So that's West Coast. So,
Yeah.
anyways, Joe, I know you don't talk a lot. Of course you can't talk a lot when you got Troy Aikman on the line, in the game with you. So, can you tell us what you saw in the Raiders and Titans game on Sunday?
I thought the defense, I'm sure, as Feinbaum mentioned, played stellar. Contributions from every position, it seemed like. Um, Tyree Wilson, Luau, I think is how you pronounce him, and of course Max Crosby were amazing. The offense looked pretty good. I thought the offense looked pretty good. It wasn't explosive. The safeties were back. They weren't going to get beat deep. Gino looked well. He looked like he had been coached a little bit. The one thing that I liked was that Chip Kelly listened to Pete. We've had 3 instances where Pete said something right after a game, and the next week it happened. Last week it was, we need to run the ball more.
Mm-hmm.
And then against the Titans, the Raiders ran the ball 32 times opposed to 27 passes. So that's more running than passing. So they did what Pete was asking them to do. Whether there was a private conversation, I don't know. I'm sure there was.
Mr. Buck, are you sure about that? They actually run more than they pass? Are you sure?
They act 100%. Gino didn't have positive yardage, and neither did Morissette. Gentry was the only one that had positive yardage in the whole game. Of course, they take sacks as part of rushing stats away from the quarterback. But yes, ran more than passed, took the ball out of Gino's hands, put it in Gentry in the offensive line, and we had a positive result.
Okay.
I'm hoping to see more of that this weekend.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Buck. Okay. So you say you had that it was a positive result, that they ran more than they passed, and that Gino looked like he'd been coached up a little bit. And Mr. Feinbaum mentioned about a players only meeting before you came on. And I'm going to put this back to Mr. Feinbaum, because Mr. Feinbaum, Max Crosby said that's complete bullshit, that they didn't have a players only meeting. Did you see that? Or did they not report that in the SEC? I'm sorry.
No, I did not see that, Colin. No, I didn't see that. But whatever happened, clearly the message was well received. And I'm telling you, if they would continue to play with this chip on their shoulder and play like it's us against the world, and try to play well above their talent levels, aside from Brock Bowers, who, mind you, has missed the last 2+ games, who went to the great University of Georgia SEC school. If he would come back, he would open up that offense. But the secondary is in shambles, Colin. Let's be honest. The secondary is a complete liability. If the pass rush isn't getting home, the Hawaiian kid, the Samoan kid, I forget his name, that he clearly didn't go to an SEC school that had a great performance this past week against Tennessee. Yes, he was outstanding. If they could get more out of that from him, it perhaps takes some of the pressure off the secondary. The secondary is really going to be tested this weekend in Arrowhead. We know what Patrick Mahomes can do, and he's getting Rashee Rice back and Xavier Worthy, who went to the University of Texas, another great SEC school. So they're really going to have their hands full. But if they can play, anything can happen in a conference game. We know that, right? You get a team, you get to play every team twice. So it'll be interesting to see. They've won at Arrowhead twice in the last 3 years. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that they can get it done. I'm excited to see how it happens this weekend, but they're going to need more out of the offense. It was clear to see that they relied a lot more on Genty this week, and that was fine to try to get him going. but Gino's going to have to open it up and stop throwing the INTs. He doesn't play for the other team. He wears the silver and black. So let's get that clear and out of the way.
Well, thank you, Paul. I really appreciate. I mean, Mr. Feinbaum. I'm sorry, but thank you very much for that insight. I do agree with you. I got a little confused there for a second when you was talking about conference because I thought you was talking about SEC, but you clarified that by saying Arrowhead Stadium. So, and first of all, I want to apologize to you guys and to the listeners and the viewers out there tonight for, it looks like I might be half asleep here on the show, but it's actually my eyebrows are pushing my eyelids down. And then I had to spray my hair, so it's kind of weighing my head down and pushing everything down south of where it's supposed to be. So, yeah, so where is Joy Taylor when you need her? So, anyways, so I agree with you, especially on the defensive backfield. You got the worst cornerback in the NFL starting for the Las Vegas Raiders in Caillou Blue Kelly. The man has given up 346 yards through the air and has a win rate of about 2%. So I agree with you, Mr. Feinbaum. You nailed it. You nailed it, sir.
Yeah, his win rate is about as good as the Arkansas Razorbacks in the SEC in football. Let's just get that. Let's just get out there.
Now, is that the Sam Pittman Razorbacks or the
Bobby? It doesn't matter. Let's be honest, Colin. It doesn't matter. The Arkansas Razorbacks are not a football school, and they will continue to be that way. But let's get back to Caillou Blue Kelly because this man is abysmal. Clearly, did not go to an SEC school, but he fits that Pete Carroll style long, but he cannot. The problem is he's too hands on and he's not making the tackles. He's just a complete liability out there. Let's call it what it is, Colin.
I agree there, Paul. I agree. Let's talk to Joe Buck. And I'm not bringing him on too much because he talks too much when he does come on the show, but he doesn't talk enough when he's on the telecast. So I'm going to run this by Joe Buck here, and I'm going to ask Joe Buck. Joe, I think you know that the Raiders traded away their best linebacker in Jermaine Pratt. And what do you think about the linebacking core in that game against Tennessee? Because personally, and I know I don't know football, but I thought they played pretty good. I thought the linebackers looked pretty good. What do you think there, Joe?
I would agree with you. The linebackers played well. In fact, Aikman and I were talking about that. We were hoping to call the Kansas City Las Vegas Raider game, and we're not going to do that. But was Pratt missed? Not in this game. We noticed that, I just announced, I'm just a color commentator. Aikman was saying that there was a lot of cover 3, a lot of cover 2, cover 6. That the defense was playing, which is not something that Graham normally does. So are they making up for a lost linebacker? Are they trying to help Blue out in the run game or in the pass game? I thought the linebackers played well, very well, in lieu of Pratt playing for Indianapolis and having 11 tackles, 8 solo, leading that team in the defense in tackling. But Aikman and I both agreed that the linebacking core was played very well this week. We are expecting more next week. Maybe filling that role would be Malcolm Kuntz. Maybe we'll see more Tyree Wilson out at linebacker on running downs. We saw Kansas City run the ball very hard. It was a physical game, apparently, against Detroit. The refs, as usual, called no penalties on the Kansas City Chiefs, even though clearly we saw Bullock in the back.
Go get Joy. I think I need a massage. Go ahead, Mr. Buck. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Buck. I didn't know that I had a live mic. I'm so sorry.
Linebackers played well. Okay. Interceptions, sacks, all the way around. Great game by the
awesome. I thank you there, Mr. Buck. You did a wonderful job. I am a little bit surprised that Troy Aikman let you talk, But I'm glad that he did, and you were able to get some insight from him, so that you come on here and spread that wealth with us and stuff. And I really appreciate that. So, um, I you talked about cover 2, you talked about cover 3. I think you even mentioned cover 6. And I, I think all 3 of those are probably better than what the Ravens did last week when they rushed 2. They rushed 2. So yeah,
Aikman and I were talking about the Ravens game.
yeah.
There are a lot of Ravens fans who have called for Lamar to be shipped out, and we're wondering why that is. They're in shambles now. He must have carried the team this whole way. Ozzie Newsome probably wants to get back at the GM spot so he can fix this team. And we haven't seen the Ravens play this bad in a long time. And Harbaugh is officially on the hot seat. He's on the warm seat. I don't know what needs to change over there. Maybe it's the head coach.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure that Steve Bisciotti's got the balls to fire Harbaugh. I think Harbaugh's got something on him personally, and Eric DeCosta's not going to do it because they're backyard buddies and stuff, and maybe some other kind of buddy too. But they so there's not any moves going to happen at least during the season. But I do think that they got to go out there and get them some edge guys and some offensive linemen to protect Lamar, because if he gets hurt again, the season is over for sure. But back to the Raiders. We talked last time a little bit about Raheem Mostert and that he needed to get more playing time, and he did. And the first time that he played, he did really well. The first game that he played, I wasn't impressed with him in this game. What about you, Mr. Feinbaum? What were your impressions of Raheem Mostert against the Titans? Of course, Ashton Genty looked good, so that probably took away some plays from Mostert. So Mr. Feinbaum, tell us what you think about that while I'm waiting on Joey Taylor to give me my massage.
Yeah, well, the problem with Mostert is let's be honest. He went to Purdue, and then go to Purdue. Purdue
was an engineer.
In stock of college football. I mean, they're not even any good, Colin. Let's be honest. I mean, if they were in, they couldn't clean Kentucky. They couldn't clean Kentucky shoes in the SEC. So that's how bad Purdue is. Let's just get that out of the way first and foremost. But second of all, the Raiders clearly had a game plan to feed Genty the ball, and kudos to them. They're featuring Genty a lot more in the passing game, which we, as Raiders fans, we've been clamoring for since they drafted him. I mean, you don't take a running back that high overall if you're only going to feature him as a 2-down back. So I wasn't mad at the fact that they didn't put Mostert in there a lot more. Mostert wasn't very effective, but that's not necessarily an indictment against him as much as it is, a very well, a good Genty game. And we're starting to see, we as fans can sit back and finally thump our chest and say, hey, look, we told you, you fucking idiots. Why has Jackson Powers Johnson not been playing? And now look at him. He's coming into the game and he's mauling people. He is a perfect. We talked about this ad nauseum. He is a perfect Raider. He's going to go out and when we think of Raiders, we think of the Jim Ottos and the Art Shells, and the Steve Wisniewski's, and even more recently Richie Incognito. The go and get after you style, and that's exactly what Jackson Powers Johnson is. He should have been an SEC player, but he ended up going to Oregon, and that's fine. But he is. I'm very impressed with the offensive line play. And again, it was the Titans. That's a get-right game for pretty much everybody outside of the Cardinals. But they just fired their coach. So clearly that was the straw that broke the camel's back, was losing to the Raiders. You're going to lose your job as the head coach. Be that as it may, this was an Ashton Genty game, and that's fine. Maybe Geno decides to do something in Arrowhead this week. And as far as Mostert goes, I don't care if he only gets a half a dozen touches a game, because that means that Genty's doing well, and you got to play the kid, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mr. Buck, do you have anything to say about Raheem Mostert?
I do, and I'll be brief. Genty's
I don't
stance.
think he will.
Genty's stance. If you've watched it, if you go in the evolution of 3 inches, leaning forward to be ready, to standing straight up again, what it does, it gives him time to look at the defensive line and figure out where the hole's going to be. And I think the offensive line is slowly molding to that system. They're just going to block. Gentry's going to take his time, and he's going to find the hole. Mostert is a little too quick this game and not taking his time. If he can slow down and be patient, he'll find the hole. He'll be in there. As far as Jackson Powers Johnson, I was talking to Aikman. He's had his hands, between men's legs almost his whole career, right? Being a Dallas Cowboy quarterback. And we were both saying that JPJ is reaching Lyle Alzado status from his aggression standpoint. He's not beating people up. He's not throwing helmets. He's not on roids. However, he does have a nasty attitude, and that's what this offensive line needs. They need a pit boss. And with Miller out, I'd still like to see JPJ at center. So would Aikman. He mentioned getting, what it would be like to have his hands down in there, receiving snaps. But that's not where the Raiders are at. He's at guard, and he's playing outstanding. We were looking at stats today. JPJ's top 10 in guard play. So they've solved the right guard position 100%.
Okay, Mr. Buck, thank you so much for that. You said you were going to be brief. I knew better. I got to ask you a question real quick, Mr. Buck, because your hair looks fabulous tonight, and I was just wondering, did you dye it? Because your hair is the same color as mine. Mine is, a really shiny silver, and yours is too on the telecast. So, is this the new Joe Buck?
Well, it's my wife's birthday, and she likes a dark-haired man. So when we get
It's
off
all
here,
dark and handsome.
we're gonna go have a little extra special time, if you know what I mean.
I know
And
what you mean,
and the
Mr.
dark hair really gets her in the mood. So we'll
Well,
we
she might
will.
like it better if you'd color that beard too.
She asked me to invite Joy Taylor, but we couldn't. I don't have her number, so maybe you and I can,
Joey's busy
after
right
her
now.
massage.
Joey's busy right now under the table. She's giving me my massage, and but shoot me your address and I'll send her your way. So okay, let's go back, and we got the Raiders coming up. They're going to be taking on the arch nemesis. Fuck the Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. And the whole world's talking about Patrick Mahomes is now the MVP front runner. The Chiefs are the team to beat. All the same sickening bullshit that we hear every year that I'm just not seeing. Yes, they played well against the Lions. They kicked the Lions' ass, okay? But the Lions got full of themselves, had some injuries. So, Mr. Feinbaum, I don't think and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think that those Kansas City Chiefs have too many SEC members on that roster. Am I correct?
But
I
you're thinking strictly from the skill position standpoint. Let's not discount Chris Jones went to the great cowbell Mississippi State. Jawan Taylor, the right tackle who also doubles as the fullback because he's always lined up 8 yards in the backfield, went to the University of Florida. Creed Humphrey went to Oklahoma. So you're discounting all the
yeah, but didn't Oklahoma just join?
be that as it may, they are still in the SEC, just like the great Arch Manning is at Texas. They are firmly in the SEC. So I don't want to get too far off course here because you asked about the Kansas City Chiefs. I will tell you this. They don't have many skill players outside of maybe Hollywood Brown that went to an SEC school. And when he was at Oklahoma, yes, they were in the Big 12. So I guess you can discredit that a little bit. But I'm just telling you right now, if Patrick Mahomes would have went to an SEC school, he might have been widely regarded as the greatest SEC quarterback to ever play the game. And we're talking about a conference that had Joe Namath, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Joe Burrow. The list goes on with fantastic SEC quarterbacks. And Patrick Mahomes would have been right up there. Joe Buck knows my feelings about Patrick Mahomes. He is fantastic. I won't slurp him as much as Chris Collinsworth will, but I will say this, that if the Raiders are going to have a chance against Kansas City in Arrowhead, they're going to have Max apply the pressure and really get in the ear of the referee, Clete Blakeman, who, by the way, the Raiders are 2-0. I don't know if you saw that stat, 2-0 with Clete Blakeman as the referee, as the head referee in Arrowhead. The Raiders are 2-0 in those games. So little stat there for you if you're into that betting market, which if you get on ESPN Bet, we now legalize sports gambling. So, but be that as it may, if the Raiders will attack Patrick Mahomes off the right side where Jawan Taylor lines up 8 yards in the backfield every time, and Pete Carroll will do his due diligence and tell him, hey, look for this false start every single time. You got to take a little bit of luck when you're playing a team that's probably more talented than you in their place. You've got to have a little bit of luck as well on your side. So I think that's what it's going to take this weekend in order for the Raiders to get a dub in Kansas City.
Thank you, Mr. Feinbaum. You're right about Hollywood Brown. They were in the Big 12 back then. But yeah, he's still SEC because they're in SEC now. And you mentioned Joe Buck knowing something. Joe, answer. Do you agree with Mr. Feinbaum?
I agree. Special teams are going to be huge. Punt return, a punt block, great kickoff returns. Hopefully we'll only have one kickoff return. The Raiders will only have one kickoff return. It's going to be all four phases, including coaching. As Feinbaum said, we need to be in the ear of the referee, letting him know that right tackle is going to jump. And hopefully we won't have another reoccurrence of that Thursday night football game where Kuntz apparently held on a field goal, which the refs called and gave Kansas City a first down inside the Raiders' 5-yard line, pushing the score by 4 more points instead of the 3 that they got. And during that game, I apologize to Raider Nation. I said nothing during the replay. My buddy Aikman was silent. Even the referee that came in to actually tell us that something had happened was dumbfounded. There was actually a flag on that play. But yes, all 4 phases. Coaching, number 1. Special teams, defense, and offense. No turnovers.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Buck. I'm going to stick with you, Mr. Buck, and before we go back to Mr. Feinbaum. And the Chiefs have a healthy wide receiver core going into this game, as we know that one of their wide receivers is back this week after serving his 6-game suspension and probably should have been suspended for the whole year. But anyway, Rashee Rice. Do you think that Rashee Rice is going to get a healthy dose of targets this week?
Aikman and I were discussing this. When a player comes back from a 6-game suspension, he's not been around the team. Yes, he's been working out, but he hasn't been in pads. He hasn't been hitting anybody. Nobody's been hitting him. So when I think of Rashid Rice, I think 3 catches and ultimately a decoy.
I think the question was targets, not catches. I'm sorry if you
4
misunderstood.
targets, 3 catches. They're going to run him on the drag route. It's going to be a physical game. What I'd like to see if I were the Raiders, if I was coaching the Raiders, it's a physical game. The way that the Kansas City Chiefs run their pick plays, it would be an accident if a Raider defensive back slammed into Rashid Rice and broke 3 of his ribs, or slammed in to another player and accidentally concussed or knocked him out of the game. This is the kind of physicality that Aikman and I think are going to be a part of the game. Much like last week's game against the Detroit Lions, where Branch was hit in the back on a running play and the referees did not call it.
Yes, Mr. Buck. That's all over social media, all over, ESPN and stuff. They're talking about that and how they got away with murder with no penalties last week, which hasn't happened since 2017, I think, or something like that. But anyways, Mr. Feinbaum, I don't want to leave you out here because I did compliment Joe about his hair looking fabulous, and I want you to know that yours also does. It looks like you've added a little color to the backside there, and I think you look wonderful, Mr. Feinbaum. So I didn't want you to feel left out. But tell me, do you agree with Mr. Buck about the targets for Rashee Rice this weekend?
Well, first of all, I greatly appreciate the compliment there, Colin. That's probably why I'm going to announce my candidacy for the Republican governor of the great state of Alabama, I believe it is. Once Mr. Tuberville moves on to the Senate, I'll announce my candidacy for politics. As I'm pretty good at politics, at blowing smoke up people's asses. So that's what I'm going to do. So, but no, as far as Mr. Rashee Rice goes, yeah, it would be a shame if he went out there on the very first play of the game, and I believe that Andy Reid will dial up the very first play of Kansas City's offense and trying to feature Mr. Rashee Rice. So it would be a crying shame if a Raider defensive back decided to just waylay him, if you will, and just immediately walk off, almost like he was fleeing the scene of an accident. So that would be terrible if that were to happen. So I'm not calling for it. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me if that wasn't in the cards, so to speak.
Yeah. I appreciate you not calling for it there, Mr. Feinbaum, because Mr. Buck seemed like he was calling for it. So anyways, so give me, based on what we talked about, based on what we saw last week against the Titans, and based on what we saw in the Sunday Night Football game, what do you think the Raiders' chances are, Mr. Feinbaum?
Not good. I think Kansas City is they're playing good football right now, and the Raiders versus the Titans, that was a get right game for the Raiders. That was an absolute had to win. If you listen to some of the comments from Paul Gutierrez and the rest of the beat reporters talking about with Jamal Adams and saying how eventually you lose enough games in a row that the players start to doubt themselves and start to doubt their ability. So to get off that schneid, if you will, made a tremendous difference. But Kansas City's playing as good as any team right now. You're going into a hostile environment in Arrowhead. I'm not sure what Pete Carroll's record is head-to-head versus Andy Reid. But if it's like a lot of other coaches, it's probably not worth bragging about. But I will say it's a puncher's chance. If Geno doesn't turn the ball over, Kansas City's defense has not been that impressive to me. And I think the Raiders will score. Now, can they do what we talked about many weeks ago when the season first started and be that bend but don't break defense? If they can do that and limit the touchdowns to Butker, who by the way is also a Republican, if they can reduce, limit the touchdowns and keep Butker to field goals, I think the Raiders will be in the game. But if I'm being honest, I don't like our chances this week.
Okay, Mr. Feinbaum. Mr. Feinbaum, you said you don't like our chances. So, are you a Raiders fan?
Oh yeah, I always have been. It just comes natural, the silver and black and the commitment to excellence. Which, if you listen to some of my callers, Legend and the rest of them that call in, I do exuberate excellence. So that's how I relate to the Raiders as well. So yes, I am a Raiders fan.
Good to know, Mr. Feinbaum, and good luck on your gubernatorial race there, because Alabama needs all the help they could get. So, Mr. Buck, what do you think the chances are for the Raiders this weekend?
I think the Raiders got a pretty good chance. Stop the run. Raiders are gonna have 3 or 4 opportunities, and those opportunities are going to come after running the ball and throwing the long bomb. We have not 1 but 2 speedsters to get down the field. And if we remember when Gruden walked into Kansas City in a noon game, ran the ball, Jacobs only had 79 yards, but we threw the ball over the top. Those are going to be the opportunities that cannot be missed. Get a one-on-one with somebody slower, and Geno throws it as far as he can. Tucker, Thornton, run and get it and score. The other thing would be stop the run. I don't think Kansas City is going to keep doing something that's not working. It's not in their nature. Make them one-dimensional. Sure, it plays into Mahomes' hands in that he throws the ball a lot, but that's okay. If we're running the ball, attempts, bringing those linebackers up, throw it over the top, stop the run, play good special teams, I like our chances.
Okay, Mr. Buck, that was pretty insightful. Did Mr. Aikman tell you all that?
He did. Actually, this year I'm listening to you. This year I'm listening to Aikman.
Well, it's a good thing that you put him in there, because he's killing it tonight. So thank you, Mr. Buck, for bringing Troy Aikman with you. Anyways, so I agree with you guys. I really don't think that the Raiders have a really good shot this weekend, but at the same time, I do think they're improving a lot. By what I saw this, Sunday against the Titans. Of course, playing the Titans lends itself to making everybody look better. So we really can't say. So I think that Sunday against the Chiefs will be a good a good measuring stick for the season moving forward. Would you agree with that, Mr. Feinbaum?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, Colin, think about it. The Titans, they have 0 SEC talent. They drafted Will Levis, a Kentucky quarterback, and he's sitting on the bench behind a Miami Hurricane who transferred from Washington State, who transferred from Incarnate Word. Incarnate Word is not even that.
One of them Catholic
I would
schools.
never, if you ask anybody, they would never think that Incarnate Word is a college football school. So, yeah, it's obvious. Standing, and we saw him go out with a hamstring injury. So there went all their SEC talent. So that was an absolute boy for everybody. So I don't think Tennessee can win 4 games this year. So I don't know what you're getting at here, Colin. Like, it's not good, and the Raiders they pretty much just zombied through a game in the spirit of Halloween and walked through the game to get the winning. So we'll see how it carries over until Arrowhead this weekend.
Yeah, they kind of took a walk amongst the tombstones there this past Sunday. So Tennessee's like dead man walking. They just don't have it. And they fired their coach the other day, and then they fired his father, and Bill Callahan, who is the coach that replaced John Gruden with the Raiders, and actually took them to the Super Bowl, and they got his ass handed to him by that same John Gruden in the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. So, anyways,
well, when you don't change the play calls, Colin, what do you expect?
Well, I think
Gruden knew every single play call.
I think he's a good offensive.
But that's about
coach.
it. That's about where the story ends. For Bill
he was pretty stupid. He didn't change any of the plays. So, okay, so let's move on. I think we agree on the Raiders. So give me your score for Sunday for the Raiders there, Mr. Buck, or I'm sorry, Mr. Aikman.
Aikman and I have been. Wait, what? Yeah. So we're not going to give an exact score. If the Raiders score 20 points, they lose. If they score 21 points, they win. 21 or more. Because 21 is they're in the red zone and they're getting touchdown. 20 is they're settling for field goals. And if we think back to about 2 or 3 minutes ago, 3 or 4 opportunities, long bombs over the defense, fast receiver into the end zone. Those are 4 touchdowns, 28 points. So will the Raider defense hold Kansas City, stop the run, put the quarterback down on the ground hard, cause them to throw INTs? I think there's going to be a fumble. It's going to be by Kansas City. It's going to help the Raiders seal the deal. 21 points or more, Raiders win.
Okay, Mr. Buck / Aikman. Last time we were on the air, the man filling that chair, Sean Fuentes, he mentioned. Damn it, Joy! You made me forget what the hell I was going to say. I'm sorry. Get. Okay, so let's just switch gears here a little bit. Okay, we've been talking about the Raiders and where we think they're at. We covered quite a bit of ground here. We think that the chances of them winning this weekend are probably not great. And I asked you for a score, and you gave me everything but. So let me go to Mr. Feinbaum. Mr. Feinbaum, are you brave enough to give us a score for Sunday?
There's a reason this is a 12.5 point spread. Okay, it's a 12.5 point spread, 48.5 over under if you're on ESPN Bet. Which is the company that signs my checks. So I will always pimp ESPN Bet. So, but right now, look, 12.5 point spread. Conventional wisdom says Las Vegas, the bookies and all the gurus out there don't like to lose money.
Your nose keeps freezing up there, Mr. Feinbaum.
6. So City, 24. Las Vegas 17. I think they cover the spread, and the total goes under 24-17 Kansas City.
Okay. I kind of agree with you there, and I'm going to go. I'm not going to give them the 17. I'm going to call it 24-13 Kansas City. Okay, now let's move on to some other things. I saw some MVP list today, and I want to get your thoughts on who do you have as your front runner for the MVP if it were given today, Mr. Buck?
Well, there's one guy in the state of Florida that keeps winning games, and while he's not doing it by himself, it looks like he is, and that'd be Baker Mayfield. From rushing for 3rd and 18, throwing dimes, it just seems like right now he's playing the best. You might think, oh, what about Mahomes? Baker has been doing it game in, game out. Mahomes hasn't. Baker
Okay,
Mayfield.
okay. I've seen a lot of people comment, and a lot of people on their list. They have Baker leading the way there, and but now I see a lot of people have put Patricia Mahomey back into that spot at the top, and I'm with you, Mr. Buck. He's just 2 games that he has played decent in, and before that he played like dog duty. So speaking of dog duty, we'll go to Alabama and Mr. Feinbaum. Who's your MVP front runner
No,
there?
hey, SEC Boomer Sooner Boomer Sooner Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is the MVP of the league. Okay, point blank. Period. Nobody else matters. Baker Mayfield right now, 5-1. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, MVP of the league.
Well, thank you for that, Boomer Sooners. Boomer Sooners. Mr. Buck, I know you're a Longhorn fan. So what is their saying instead of a Boomer Sooner? What do they say? Uh, what do they say in Texas?
The
If you
horns say
want to save a cowboy, ride a horse.
the horns are horns up. Everyone else has something else to say.
Okay, so Texas has nothing to say. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, so we talked a little bit last week or 2 weeks ago, because I think it was, uh, about some Ravens football and about the playoffs, and and we talked a little bit about fantasy, and I've enjoyed kicking your ass there, Joe Buck, the other day. So and look forward to kicking your ass this Sunday, Mr. Feinbaum. And so let's based on what we've seen, who is the best team in the AFC? Because there's a lot of chaos. It looks wide open. Uh, Mr. Feinbaum, who do you think is the best team in the AFC?
It's still the Buffalo Bills, and I don't think McDermott is a very good coach. I think he's actually on the hot seat with the amount of talent. And when you've got the reigning MVP, whether it be by MVP by exhaustion, you've got to exceed. They've lost 2 in a row.
Damn it, Joy.
They can get it right. I just don't. It's hard for me to pick against. And Mike Vrabel, great Ohio State alum, has got the UNC quarterback Drake May playing at an all-time level right now. So the Patriots are right there. They're actually playing really, really good ball right now. But playoff time is different. And I think if it comes down to the playoffs right now, as they are constructed, I would take the Buffalo Bills over every other team in the AFC.
Even though they've lost 2 in a row?
Yes. Yeah, I would still take them over every team in the AFC. They got to fix their run defense. I think we're going to see them active in the trade deadline. And, the NFL trade deadline is not the NBA trade deadline or even the MLB trade deadline. You don't see a lot of big names moved, but I think you will see Buffalo try to go out and get some pass rush help, maybe some run stuff help. You know, we saw Bijan Robinson, SEC Texas running back, run all over them, cut through them like a hot knife through butter. So you'll see Buffalo go out and try to shore up that run defense. But I would still take Buffalo representative in the Super Bowl.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that you were sticking with your choice. Now we're going to go to Mr. Buck and ask him the same question. Mr. Buck slash Troy Aikman, who do you have as your best team in the AFC right now?
Aikman and I are going to go with a team that's sneaky, very sneaking up on people. They got a quarterback that's just throwing darts, playing the best he's ever played. They have a rookie tight end with all the injuries to Mbuka and some of the other wide receiver rookies, have a tight end that's going to be pushing for Rookie Offensive Player of the Year. Indianapolis is playing lights out right now. They've got a great running back in Taylor. They're running the ball. They got a solid defense. Right now, they're just building their case as a force to be reckoned with. Have they played anybody? They played the Rams. They played some decent teams, and they just keep winning. So right now, for me, it's Indianapolis.
Okay. So you're going with Danny Dimes.
Danny Dimes. I mean, they somehow a rubber band hit the Richards in the eye, and he broke his orbital bone or something. So they're moving him to the side, and they're just clearing space for everybody to focus on Danny Dimes. I don't know what's going on, how a rubber band breaks your orbital bone, but it did in pregame. I feel sorry for the young man. He's got a great career, just not in Indianapolis.
Yeah. Well, for the foreseeable future, I think they might keep him to his contract. I want to talk real quick about my favorite team, or that I think is the best team in AFC right now. But before I do, I want to go back to what Mr. Feinbaum was talking about, because he said the Buffalo Bills. He mentioned that they would be active there, before the trade deadline, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But if you listen to Bills fans on Twitter, they're talking about how he has no help. Last year they was talking about how great James Cook was, and Khalil Shakir. And Keon Coleman is supposed to be the second coming of Jesus Christ himself. So he seems to have plenty of weapons to me. But what I see is that I agree with Mr. Feinbaum. The defense sucks, and I see the Great White Hope, Josh Allen, reverting to his old ways, as evidenced by their game Monday night. What do you say to that, Mr. Buck?
I somewhat agree. I agree to the extent that I don't think that as much winning as Buffalo has done, they don't know how to win. That game on Monday night, Atlanta scored 0 points in the second half. They were one drive away, and they couldn't put it together.
He was trying to.
Are they trying to do too much? Are they trying to get all the points in one drive? Probably. They're not. I think it goes back to what Feinbaum was saying about McDermott. They can't get him and the offense focused to execute on one play at a time. Every play, it's somebody's turn to fuck up.
Mr. Buck.
Excuse my language.
Yes, please excuse your language. We don't fucking say that on our podcast. Mr. Feinbaum, do you agree with my analysis of Josh Allen not having weapons, or not my analysis, because that's what his the Bills Mafia is saying. And do you agree that he kind of over the last few games has looked like his old self, Mister Josh, turn the ball over?
Yeah, hey, let's be honest, Colin. He's playing hero ball. He's doing the same thing that he did at Wyoming because he's trying to convince, and Bills Mafia is trying to convince you that he has no weapons. Meanwhile, he's got one of the top 5 running backs in the NFL, and James Cook. When Dalton Kincaid is healthy, he's a top 15 tight end. You drafted Keon Coleman in the first round out of Florida State because the talent is there. It's not for lack of weapons. It's Josh Allen is regressed a little bit this year again because he's trying to play hero ball. I don't honestly, I don't know what Joe Brady is doing the way he's calling some of these games. And I'll be honest, he's working himself out of that, the Ben Johnson next great wonder kid head coach in waiting, right? So with some of his play calling, but I will say this: McDermott also couldn't coach his way out of a wet paper bag. With some of his clock management and some of the decisions that he makes. It's not good. It's a recipe for disaster. And if they don't shore up the run defense, they're looking at a quick exit from the playoffs. And I think ultimately that will be the demise of Sean McDermott. And you'll have another head coach there in Buffalo. And it very well could be Joe Brady. And again, that would be a disaster as well, because I don't think Brady knows what the hell he's doing either, quite frankly.
Yeah. Joe Brady's definitely no Tom Brady, that's for sure. So I'm going to go, and we talked a little bit, about what my feelings were about what you guys have mentioned, what you guys have talked about, and right now I want to kind of talk about who I feel is probably the best team in the AFC. I kind of I want to agree with Troy Aikman. I mean, Mr. Buck there, and say Indianapolis because I love the way that Danny Dimes is playing. And earlier in the year, he looked like a MVP candidate, and he still may be. But I'm looking in the Buffalo Bills division. I'm looking at the job that Mike Vrabel has done, and the way their defense is playing, and the way that Drake May is playing. And I don't think they're the best team in the AFC right now, but by the end of the year, they very well could be. They very well could be. So, with that said, Mr. Buck, you made me forget again. Damn it. Okay, no. With that said, back to Sunday's game, the Raiders and the Chiefs. We all agreed that it's not looking good for the Raiders in that game. But let's turn the table a little bit and say, tell me, Mr. Buck, Mr. Aikman, what would it take? What would the Raiders have to do to overcome that predicted outcome?
I do want to point something out. Both of you chose a score lower than 21 for them losing, for the Raiders losing. And I said more than 21, they win. 21 or more, they win.
It's a good thing you got Mr. Aikman in your ear because he's
That's
sage.
right. He's keeping me honest. What was the question again? Why are what could happen so that the Raiders win? Is that the question?
Yeah,
They got to run the ball. Run the ball,
what,
stop the run.
what is the key
That
to
simple.
a victory for the Raiders?
Yeah. Run the ball, stop the run, control the line of scrimmage. You do that, they'll take all the Chiefs aren't a tough passing team. They can run the ball hard. You stop that, you take all the grit out of them. And Andy Reid is not going to keep going to the run if it's not working. He's going to substitute some sort of short pass to get run like yards out of the offense. Stop the run, and run the ball.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Buck, Mr. Aikman. I don't know who the hell you are, but anyways, Mr. Feinbaum, what do you think would be the key for the Raiders? And Mr. Buck slash Aikman, he made a good point there. Saying what it would take, and it's possible. We all know it's possible because on any given Sunday. But what do you think would be the key for the Raiders to turn the tables and actually win this game?
You got to eliminate the turnovers first and foremost. Geno's got 10 6 games. Limit the very adept at running the ball. They try. Pacheco's not good on a short leash. Kareem Hunt, Bowling Green, Pacheco, Rutgers, Brashard Smith, SMU, all non-SEC running backs. So you can see where they don't do things very well there in Kansas City. But Travis Kelce is the Raiders' kryptonite, always has been. He eats the Raiders' tight ends, or opposing tight ends eat the Raiders' lunch, be it going all the way back to Antonio Gates and Tony Gonzalez. You're talking about the tight ends always eat the Raiders' lunch. So getting off the field on third downs, when they have Mahomes and the Chiefs in third and longer than 5, by all means, do not get called for the ticky-tack, illegal contact, 5-yard automatic, most bullshit penalty in the entire NFL. Do not get called for that. Get off the field on third downs, and you give your offense a chance. But again, that comes with a caveat. Geno Smith cannot turn the ball over. If we limit the turnovers and get off the field on third downs on defense, we got a puncher's chance.
Okay, and I can agree with both of you guys there. Mr. Feinbaum, real quick, I just want you to tell your wife that she has nothing to fear from me. Okay, she'll tell you what that's all about in a minute. Okay, so now back to, we want to be able to get Mr. Buck to his wife. It's her. I'm not going to say how old she is, but it's a big birthday for her. And he dyed his hair so that he could get lucky tonight. So we probably want to cut things off here in just a second. But before we do, I want to, you guys, I've been a Ravens fan since Lamar went to Baltimore. So in your honest opinion, they have sucked. They have sucked big time. So in your honest opinion, do you think they're done for the year, Mr. Feinbaum?
No, absolutely not, Colin. They're 1-5 right now. You're talking about a team that's as talented as any other team in the NFL. We don't ever see it happening, but it's not beyond the realm of possibility that they could win. They could win out. It ended up being, 12-5. Obviously, the likelihood of that happening is not great given the history, but I could totally see them winning 9 of the next 12. And if they win 9 of the next 12, they're 9-8. And can they get it? Can they sneak into the playoffs? Look, I don't believe in the AFC North whatsoever. I think Pittsburgh is doing it all with smoke and mirrors right now. I don't believe that it's sustainable. Cleveland is not good. In Cincinnati, they just went out and tried to get Joe believe for 1 second that Joe Burrow's coming back. So the division is up for grabs. I truly think 9-8 can win that division. So I don't think, going 8-3 the rest of the way is not asking too much when you've got a Derrick Henry, a Zay Flowers, a Mark Andrews, and obviously a Lamar Jackson. The defense has got to get better, but I can totally see Baltimore getting in at 9-8 and winning the division ultimately. In fact, if I were a betting man on ESPNBet.com, I would place that bet for Baltimore to win the AFC North.
Okay, well, good to know. I agree with you. I don't think they're done. I agree that they're too talented. Uh, they haven't played as talented as they are, but basically you got the same core roster as you had last year, with a couple of exceptions. So I think they can figure it out. You said 9-8. I'm thinking 10-7, 11-6, and I think, yeah, I still think they're going to win the division. Mr. Buck or Mr. Aikman, what do you think?
Well, as you guys know, I do commentate on Major League Baseball, and there's a saying in Major League Baseball, and probably in other sports as well. When the pitcher's done, put a fork in him. And so the Ravens put a fork in him. They're done. And
Boo!
here's why I think that. There's another team in the NFC that parallel with injuries. Starting quarterback goes down, starting all-pro defensive lineman goes down. They just lost the best middle linebacker, considerably the best middle linebacker in all of football, the San Francisco 49ers. And they're still competitive. The Ravens aren't competitive with their depleted roster. And that leads me, and before the season started, we all knew they had a stacked roster. So a stacked roster isn't 22 guys, it's 53 with depth. So the thing that they're missing, I think they'll be missing for the rest of the year. And that's solid coaching that can help the locker room grow and play like a Raven. And for whatever reason, Harbaugh can't get them to play like a Raven. And that's it. All the Raven players from beyond or in the past are ashamed of this team and what they're doing. They're done. But I do agree, the Steelers, smoke and mirrors. Without Joe Burrow, Cincinnati is done. And the Browns are just trying. This is a development year for them. So I think it is wide open, but I don't think they'll catch the Steelers. The Steelers are good enough that they'll win enough games through immaculate reception type plays that they'll win the division. And they have the best quarterback in the division.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Aikman and Joe Buck. So Joy said she needs to come up for air. So I think we're gonna have to call it a night, fellers. I appreciate you all being on. You look fabulous, Mr. Feinbaum. Enjoy your family, sir. And Mr. Buck, I hope you're not taking Mr. Aikman on a date with your wife after we get off here.
He commented about it, but I think it'll be just me and the missus.
Well, I hope that you dyeing your hair to look younger, even though the gray beard gives you away. Good luck with that. I appreciate it, you being on, and tell your wife I'm sorry and happy birthday. And Mr. Feinbaum, say hello to the kids and the wife. And we see you guys in a couple weeks.
Viagra. We'll see you in a few weeks. Go Raiders.
Will do. Always a pleasure, gentlemen. Happy Halloween, and obviously go Raiders, and let's get this win.
Absolutely.
Get this win.
Happy Halloween, everybody. All right, everyone. That was Joe Buck / Troy Aikman and Paul Feinbaum filling in for Brett Morris and Sean Fuentes, our regular Raider crew. And we thank you for joining us. I'm looking at the numbers, and we have set a record tonight for our show, our podcast. So thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun, and we'll be back next week. I think I will have a Ravens podcast with Nick Mason, and we're going to talk about what the Ravens need to do to turn their season around during the bye week. So thank you for joining us. We hope you had as much fun as we did. And I'm going to sign off and say good night. I am Colin Calhard, filling in for Michael B. Everyone have a wonderful evening and enjoy